and a very warm welcome to all of you. With 24,350 runs, one of the world's best batters just keeps on adding another feather to his cap going into the World Cup. One thought that, will Virat Kohli be able to bat like Virat Kohli of old? But he showed that why he is the great Virat Kohli in the way he's batted in this World Cup. He is the highest run scorer. And today, because of what we've seen over the last year, where everybody has been criticizing him for lack of runs, for him not being able to bat well, for his failures, on his birthday, we've decided not just to wish him a very happy birthday, but also take a few moments and just appreciate what Virat Kohli has done and how satisfied he must be today on his birthday with the way he has risen back and fought against the odds over the last year. So joining me here as we look at some of the moments of Virat Kohli, the journey of last year from 33 to 34 is former Indian cricketer, former selector Ashok Malhotra. He joins me here. Vedam Jaishankar, cricket analyst. He's here with us. Gentlemen, thank you so much. This is an easy next 20 minutes because we've got to talk about how brilliant Virat Kohli is, and he's given us reasons to talk about it. Struggling in the way he was, Ashok sir, you and I have had many discussions over Virat Kohli's form or the lack of it. But today, on his birthday, I think he'd be satisfied, and he'd also be a very happy, satisfied person, happy, satisfied man, knowing that he has put, his failures behind him over the last year.
Definitely, if he looks back, he must be a very satisfied man. How many world-class players we know who got 71 hundreds, We know Sachin has got 100, but that is a bridge too far kind of thing. Although it is not too far for somebody like Kohli if he gets back into his rhythm, gets back into his form. But the fact is, he went through hell. If I may say, I know every cricketer has a dip in his form, but this kind of a dip I have never seen from a great player, a legend. So I still, for me, I still remember that inning in IPL where he flicked first ball or second ball, caught it short mid wicket, and the way he walked back to the pavilion, and the way he went up the stairs, and the way camera kept focusing on him, and he was like helpless. He didn't know what was happening to him. And we all felt sorry for him. We all wanted to come back because we all loved him for what he has done for cricket and with his bat. He gladdened the millions of people's hearts with his brilliant bat. And he has won millions of matches for Team India because he's a batsman. So the fact is, Virat, when he must be looking back, he must be a very satisfied man. And at that 1 month's break has done wonders for him. Because he went back, reinvented himself, or went back and brought back the vintage Kohli. The way he used to get run, the way he used to milk the bowling. He'd never go and start hitting from ball one, which he had started hitting. That happened when your runs are dried out. Then you try to quickly get back into form. And that is when you make that mistake. And that is what he was doing. But I think once he got the runs, that 100 against Afghanistan turned the tide in his favor. And even when he got 19 in a friendly game against South Africa, I remember telling you that he seems to be in good nick. And how. And the way he's playing now, I think it is like vintage Kohli. He's not worried about his captaincy. Yeah. He's not worried whether he's a captain or not. As of now, he wants to be the best batsman in this entire planet, and that is exactly what he's doing.
Let's just go back to how the year began for him. Last year, around this time, India were out of the World Cup with him, and Virat Kohli is said he's not going to be captaining T20s at T20Is anymore. He'd already stepped down from RCB captaincy, saying I'm not going to be doing that as well. And then came the whole controversy around his test captaincy. There was a very public disagreement between him and the then president Sourav Ganguly of the BCCI, and you felt that maybe his failures on the field, he would be able to deal with that in his way because he's dealt with that in the past. But so much of this was about all that was happening with him off the field as well. Don't you think that that made things even more difficult for Virat Kohli?
Yes, certainly, because we're used to seeing certain people playing a lot of mind games. And I think that's what was happening, and that was quite tragic. You can't have the board president playing mind games with his own captain, and it looked at one stage that it would really get to Virat because it affected him in many ways. Because I don't think he was used to that kind of thing. He could take on a lot of competitive aggression on the field, but some stealth attacks like this off the field, I don't think he's like he's in your face. He's got the spirit of the warrior. He's in your face. He's not somebody who can handle these subtle things, and that we thought was really getting to him. But I'm glad that things worked out very well because what we really are seeing is the rebirth of a great cricketer. He is not just an ordinary cricketer, he's a great cricketer. And, when you look at even these kind of mind games, I have a feeling that it has toughened him. It might have mellowed him in some ways. He's learned to take the good with the bad. He knows there are certain things that he can't fight. He has to swim with the tides in certain cases. But I have a feeling that it has toughened him a lot more than many of these people expected. And what we are seeing today is, he's putting a stamp of his authority on this tournament, at least so far, what we have seen. It's an incredible performance that he has come up with, especially when so many people were waiting to write him off and played games with him. And for him to come back and cock a snook at them, it's fantastic.
Absolutely. And also the thing that stands out, Ashok sir, is in the way he's come back. It's also Virat Kohli coming back after what was the longest period that one has seen a great like him have, right? I mean, it went on, what, his 71st 100 took, I clearly remember, 1,000+ days, and people were counting every day, saying another day added to that. So you're dealing with that pressure, but at the same time, the comeback is also viewed from the same way that you would view a great. What I'm trying to say, while I'm going round and round in circles, is that for a Virat Kohli to make his comeback, it would be very different from another player who's not a great to make his comeback. And I felt that 100 against Afghanistan, of course, people said he's back, but it really was an innings like the one that we saw against Pakistan that said, this is who Virat Kohli is. This is the greatness of Virat Kohli. So I'm saying it wasn't just a 100 wouldn't do it. An 82 with those 2 sixes of Haris Rauf in the most incredible fashion, winning the game for India, that would do it for critics to say, my God, Virat Kohli is back. And that's what it took, and only he could have done it.
Yeah, definitely so, Meha. But what Vedam was saying that he is Malaka and how. How they might be as well. Because when he was the captain, he was not treating people well, believe you me. The way he handled Anil Kumble, the way he handled Ravichandran Ashwin. So what goes around comes around. So when it happened to him, he couldn't handle it. That is what happened to him. He thought in his own mind that I will resign from T20 captaincy, and then I will be still the captain. Whereas the board thought otherwise, or the BCCI captain thought otherwise, president thought otherwise. I wouldn't know that. But the fact is, he could not believe it. It can happen to somebody like Virat Kohli. So it took him some time to come out of it. Mentally, he was not in the right space. Once he went back, had a rethink about his career, because he's got so much, he's achieved so much. He shouldn't be worried about it, whether he's a captain or not, because you can be player for 16 years. You can't be a captain for 16 years. That is what he got to understand that. And secondly, that 100, you very rightly said, that 100 he got against Pakistan. That is when he said, I'm back. Virat is back. Because that is what we know about Virat. Because he's the biggest, greatest match winner we ever had. We talk about Gavaskar, we talk about Sachin Tendulkar. They were greats in their own era. But this guy is the best player in all three formats. If Sunil was greatest batter in Test cricket, Sachin was the greatest batter in Test and ODIs, whereas Virat is the greatest batter a test ODIs and T20. So it is a multi tasker, and there's somebody who's great in every format, averaging above 50 and a consistency. The good thing is consistency. We don't relate that to T20 cricket. The modern day batters don't relate consistency to T20, but this man has that, and how he wins matches against all odds, and that is what Virat Kohli is all about. And I think I think everybody in the country was pleased when he played that match, when he won us against Pakistan, because we all love, everybody. That is what I was telling you, that IPL, it broke my heart. How can such a great cricketer can come to this level? This is a cricket. This is a great level. But how he's come back? He's a risen from the ashes, and how? And only Virat could have done that. Because and now I will say this is Virat 2. Believe you me, we're talking about 100. Now I put my money on it to get Virat those 100 hundreds.
Okay, so it is Virat 2.0, but you're right about the consistency, or how difficult it is to achieve that consistency in T20s. But most runs in the history of T20 World Cup. He is the highest run scorer in T20 World Cup at the moment. Most player of the match awards in T20Is. It's fascinating. Most runs in T20I internationals. Fastest to 3,000 in T20Is. And of course, we're not counting the ODIs and the tests where, most wins as captain of India in test matches. Most 50s in T20 internationals. Player with most appearances as captain of India in tests. Highest career batting average in T20Is, which was 53.13. So records are many. But I think for me, what stood out, Vedam, and you can come in on this one, is that when he was feeling the heat, when he felt like things are not going his way, when there was not just failure on the field, but off the field, all that happened with the BCCI, he took a break. In fact, he took multiple breaks. The thing that stands out for me about Virat Kohli, the cricketer, is that when he comes back, cricket had moved on. Suddenly, you had Suryakumar Yadav, who was showing how T20 cricket is to be played. Deepak Hooda, he was batting beautifully. And then this murmur that, Virat Kohli, can he really play T20 cricket? Is his game suited to the changes that we're seeing in T20 cricket? What I've seen is that you play the cricketing shots, but with Virat Kohli now, he's doing everything else along with it. He understood the need to change his game, and he's done it beautifully. He may not be just hitting sixes at will, but he knows exactly how to pace a T20 innings now. Do you think I'm correct in saying that?
I don't know, because if you go back to 2016, when he played the IPL, that was T20, and I don't think he's had a better season than that. He smashed everybody out of the park. So I think, but we have to accept that he plays it a little differently. He doesn't play the T20 like some of the names that you mentioned. He plays it, he marches to his own tune. He understands that he has to score at a hectic pace, and he's got a different dynamics to the whole thing. If you really look at his innings right through, he loves to run fast. And his initial runs are all to twos and threes, and he's an amazing runner between the wickets, especially initially. And it's only later he opens out, and that's the way he plays most of his cricket. And not too many people go for that kind of cricket. Some of them try to hit over the top. They don't always succeed. But it's a different dynamic that we are seeing. And somebody like Virat Kohli, I think he has immense faith in his ability to play cricket the way it has meant to be played, like the orthodox style of playing cricket. And he has shown, he's one of the few people who's playing all three formats of the game. There are many of them, many champion cricketers from many parts of the world who actually, move out of T20 or ODIs or tests or whatever. But he's playing all the three formats. Yeah. And if you really look at it, he's playing all the three formats the same way, with a very orthodox bat, but he carries plenty of punch in his shots, especially when he gets going. And you saw the innings against Pakistan. Only somebody like Virat Kohli could have even had the confidence to hang on, wait, take it deep, and then play that sort of cricket. And it's incredible, and we'll have to accept that he is defining cricketing greatness.
Ashok, so do you agree with that? The pacing of innings and how, because I feel like he's really tried to change that and add that dimension to his game with T20s, because he knows that he needs to keep up with the pace. He also needs to keep up with that aggressive approach that Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid talk of all the time. So is that something that he's done, or do you think that, he doesn't need to do it, he can still play cricketing shots?
This is Virat Kohli, As I'm saying, it's a vintage Virat Kohli. If you look at his inning before that slump in his form, he was playing like this. He was building an inning, he was, turning ones into twos, running around, and then go hammer and tongs in the slog over. That is when, once he's set, then he can play big shots. In between, when he was struggling with form, he started playing big shots early on in his innings and losing his fitness. That has been the undoing. But since he's found his mantra again, he's found Virat Kohli again, if I may say. It is vintage Virat Kohli. Vintage Virat Kohli and back, and that is why I'm saying it is Virat Kohli 2 now. This is a chapter 2, if I may say, because we lost Virat Kohli in between. Despite that, not that he was failing miserably, but he has raised the bar so high. That if he gets out on a 50, it's a failure for somebody like Virat Kohli. If he gets out on 70, it's a failure. We are not talking about his failures. We are talking about his 71st 100. That is what was missing, because he was scoring tons for once before that, but those tons dried up. That is why it created problem for him. If I may dare say, because of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma has flown under the radar. Nobody's talking about his out of form. He's played 90 innings and scored 250s. So nobody's talking about him. Well, Virat was scoring still 50s. Still he was being criticized.
Yeah.
But as of now, because he's the biggest match winner we ever had. So that is the thing, especially in shorter format. And as Vedan very rightly said, we talk about Fab Four. Where is Joru? Where is Williamson? Where is Steve Smith? They all seem to be struggling in T20 format.
Yeah.
But this guy stamps his authority in every format of the game.
That's right. In fact, in one of the interviews, he said what actually surprised me was that my 60s became failures, which was very shocking for me. I was batting pretty well and contributing, but it didn't seem to be good enough. And that's why I'm saying the comeback of Virat Kohli had to be like the one that we saw against Pakistan. Because before that, even when he got the 100 against Afghanistan, you still had critics saying, oh, he got the 100 against a side that was jaded, that had, that had just played a match before and all of that, and it's a weaker side. But for Virat Kohli to really make a comeback and, for everybody to be silenced, all his critics, he needed to perform like that, and he did that. And what a wonderful way. But I've also got to talk a little bit about the mental space. He's spoken about it, Vedam. He says this was one of the lowest phases in his life. He said, mental health struggle is real. People deal with it. It's good to talk about it. And somewhere, I think, nurturing himself when it comes to mental health, that seems to have helped as well. He's also, and Ashok sir says that was clearly the biggest difference he thinks, is that taking that mental break. Taking that break and not just taking it and going and training, but taking a break, not touching his bat, appreciating other things in life, just putting life in perspective, just figuring out what you want to be, who you want to be. I think there was a lot of that went into it, the soul searching bit of it, where you realize what are really the most important things. And, going back to the basics, saying, this is why I started playing cricket, for the love of it, not because of the runs it gave me, not because of, where I am in my life, but because I genuinely just love playing cricket. So much of it was just mental health. Vedam?
See, if you look now, Virat Kohli is now 34, and he must have been on the road from the age of 12 or 13. He's about 20, 22 years of non-stop cricket. I mean, it's impossible. I don't think in the history of the game, anybody has played as much cricket right through the year. There's no season defined. Whether it's in England or Australia, there's a defined season. But where Virat Kohli is concerned, there's no defined season. And he's in demand all the time. It's not just for his cricket. Even off the field is in demand. So 100% there should be something on you. I mean, no human being can take so much of a load. And I'm 100% sure that kind of a load would definitely get to him. But for him to say that, yes, this load is too much, I need a mental break, I need a break away from the game, I need a break away from the spotlight. I mean, that's terrific because that shows great maturity. Because when you're doing well, there's always hunger to grab more and more and more. But for him to decide that this is a longevity that counts and he has to hang on, yes, take a break, refresh yourself, come back into the game, that's really, really fantastic. Because otherwise, you would have seen a burnout. And burnouts are very common. Like I said, he's a guy who's playing all three formats of the game and he's soaking in it all the time. And, leading India or leading RCB or oh, it's not a joke. It's very tough
Yeah.
mentally and physically. And let's not forget, he has set standards. The yardsticks for him, like Ashok rightly said, are different. His 70s are looked upon as failures. This is like Bradman in the Bodyline series. He got an average of 50 plus, and Jardine was happy that he had contained Bradman. But look, an average of 50 plus is seen as containing him. And I think Virat Kohli is like that. You're not happy with the 70, you're not happy with 80, you need to get 100 out of him. And I think he also realizes, and that's the kind of pressure that would break anybody. And the fact that he's still not broken, he's taken those breaks, and still there in the game, it's really a tribute not just to his fitness, but also to the way he has carried himself. And let's not forget that he set standards for the Indian team. He ensured that all the
Yeah.
players were fit as fiddles, and they could also run up and match up with most of the things that were done by some of the overseas cricketers. And that's a tribute because today, if you look at local cricket, every single young cricketer in India wants to emulate Kohli. He wants to be as fit as Kohli. He wants to bat like Kohli. And that's a great thing to lift an
Yeah.
entire nation away from its, those olden days when cricketers were really not fit to these days when cricketers are super fit.
Yeah. And to do it internationally, I think it's not just Indian cricketers. I think world over cricketers started seeing what Virat Kohli was doing, how he was fit, how he wasn't getting injured, what his routine was like, his training. All of that was observed all over the cricketing world. But he seems like a happy person now. Ashok sir, when we go to cover matches, you get a sense of each player, right? You understand this player is moody, this one's a happy, fun chap. This one's a serious one. Let's not mess with him. He's not going to come out and make any jokes. Virat Kohli, in the beginning, or at least till he was right at the peak, when nobody could touch him, everybody sort of stayed away in the media, where people were very proper in the kind of questions that were asked to him. You never knew what he would say or how he would react. Now the sense I'm getting from everybody in the media, I mean, I've been following their Twitter feed and, Insta stories and everything, that he seems to be in a happy space. He's chatting journalists up, which he never used to, which is something that all journalists have spoken about. I mean, he never really used to come out and speak to them or discuss anything. But now I feel like there's that sense of, okay, I'm just in a happy space, and when I'm happy, the world is a nice place. That's the sense that one gets when you look at Virat Kohli in the way he's communicating.
See what Vedan said is melodrama and how.
Yeah.
You see, he's been on the other side. He's realized how bad it can. Cricket has taken you to great heights, and how badly it throws you down. Also, that is also his notice. So he's mellowed down. He's become more humble. And if you see now when he scores 100, he's not abusive. He smiles. He raises his bat. Before that, I could never understand. Once you get 100, you should be on top of the world. Why are you abusive? That I could not. And that thing rubbed on us because I'm doing commentary for all these domestic matches. The kids do the same thing. I still can't understand. You get 100, you are on top of the world. Why you get to be abusive or use the language, whatever? So that is, he is mellowed down. As you very rightly said, probably now he's one of a kind. Before that, he was king Kohli.
Yeah.
Who could, nobody could harm him, nobody could touch him. And that is why it took him 2 years to come out of it. He could not believe what happened to him. It happens to best of people. It happened to Vishen Bedi, it happened to Gavaskar, it happened to Kapil Dev, it happened to Saurav Ganguly, it happened to everybody.
Yeah.
So that it took him time to get to it, because he had his entire career planned out of T20 cricket, leaving the captaincy, but captain one-day cricket and test cricket. But board was on the different page, and that hurt it very badly. And he was sulking. Believe you me, he sulked for two years. That is why he was not in a happy space. Now, after that, why I keep harping about that 1 month, he went back, regrouped, and realized, okay, let it go. I'll play my normal game. I play myself. I'm not bothered about the captaincy. I'm not bothered about what others say. I'll show them who King Kohli is, how good a player Kohli is, and that is exactly what he. And as you very rightly said, he started enjoying the game because he enjoys the pressure. A lot of like ordinary folks like us, when you play for a club cricket, there's a lot of pressure of the clubs to perform. Yeah. I know how much pressure that is. This guy carries the pressure of billions of people and still performs game in, game out. How strong or mentally tough he must be, and even he had to go through this. Yeah. He had to rough it up. So I think that has mellowed him down, grounded him a bit, and that is why the best of his cricket. That is why I'm saying I'm putting the money that now he's going to get his 100 hundreds.
Okay, let's hope that happens, because the others, like Vedam was saying, they've all fallen off the radar. I mean, you look at the top four, where are they except for Virat Kohli? Now, I have a very interesting memory of him, which is Virat Kohli, when he used to order from McDonald's and eat French fries. There was an interview that I'd gone for, and as we were waiting for that interview, he hadn't had lunch. And I'm talking of those times. I think if I meet him and I tell him that this is something that he did, he'd be like, wow, that was many, many years ago. But I clearly remember, I said, wow, he's ordered himself McDonald's burger and French fries for lunch. I don't think he'll go near any of it now with the kind of fitness regime that he follows. But it was quite something. But gentlemen, wrapping this up, thank you so much, Ashok Malhotra, for joining us, and Vedam Jaishankar here. And we take this opportunity to wish Virat Kohli once again, the king, turns 34. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.